Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you, gents, here. Last panel. And if you watch any of the fashion shows, you know who's the most important, the one who starts and the one who ends. So we are in a good place here because Philip was bragging about his panels being the best, but well, this is where we are. So let me introduce our amazing guests today. We have Jasjit, Mohamad, and Feym here with us. And gents, I will let you introduce ourselves to our viewers. Mohamad, maybe we'll start with you.
Yes, hi you, hi everyone. Great to be here as part of this conference. And as you were saying, hopefully the best for last. I lead product for platform squads at Careem. We are the leading everything app in the Middle East region. And we started with the mission to simplify and improve the lives of people. I've been at Careem for years, and I spent before that I used to be at the Core ML team at Facebook, and I led applied AI R&D lab for Samsung. Briefly about me.
Thank you so much. Jasjit, will you
Hello.
carry on the
Hey,
introduction?
I'm Jasjit. I lead fulfillment operations for Delivery Hero, and we work around the globe with all the different regions in making sure that our operations are very streamlined. And while we cater to the customer experience, and also how do we make our shops more reliable. So these are the two main focus areas for me. It has been a very exciting period.
Thank you so much. And Feym, over to you.
Thank you, Eva, for having us, and thank you all for joining. My name is Feym. I'm a part of Lite e-commerce. We are operating two dedicated brands. One is sort of a true Q-commerce business, 15-minute delivery, and one is an online grocery. And we are part of Jasjit Group, so one of the largest convenience players in Europe. It's an exciting time to work in this industry, and I hope we're going to get into a lot of aspects of that exciting time.
Yeah, I hope so, because I have a lot of questions for you, and I'm super excited to hear what you are going to say to our audience. And myself, a moderator here, Eva, from Netguru, delivery lead. Super happy to have you. Okay, so we are going to discuss quick commerce. And quick commerce, quick e-commerce, rapid delivery, on-demand delivery, instant delivery. I think that there are so many names for that service, but I am going to stick with quick commerce for the purpose of our discussion, and we are going to revolve around food delivery, but very tasty topic, very hot topic, I think. And for those, because I believe that majority of our listeners and viewers are know what quick commerce is, but for those who are not, a quick overview. It's a not so new channel, but it's not definitely old channel that we have seen around in retail, which emerged massively during the COVID pandemic, that acted basically as a catalyst for creating and creating the ideal conditions for the products to show in the market. And the center stage obviously was taking about the time delivery, about the speed of delivery of the products. And for those wondering, is it really that big market? Is it really that hot? Yet it is. Yes, it is. Around 100 billion of USDs in revenue worldwide, 400 million users worldwide. So I believe there are many of the people who would like a little bit of piece of that for themselves. And we are going to talk about how to do it, how to sustain, and how to get that piece for yourself. But one thing is to create the product. The second thing is to sustain on the market, to be the leader, to be the one who keeps the people interested in their product. And you gentlemen probably are more aware than everyone else that this is connected with huge operational costs and huge logistics overall. So, and there is a promise that we give to customers, and we have to keep that promise. And Feym, you mentioned already 15-minute delivery. So I have to start with that question. How quick is quick? Is it really 15 minutes?
Well, that's really the billion-dollar question at this point. When every startup probably in the world is trying to be profitable, when it comes to Q-commerce, how quick is quick? How do you keep that promise? That's sort of where companies sort of win the market or struggle dearly. I think you've mentioned sort of the progression of Q-commerce, and 2 years ago, probably the answer for quick was the quicker the better. If you ever used a Q-commerce business, when you get your first delivery within 5, 6, 8 minutes, you think it's magic. And you was completely blown away, and you say, wow, this changed my life. So, you know, as part of our business, we obviously done some market research. We listen to customers, and we're just curious, well, if it's magic, how do you value this magic? You know, would you pay a fee for speed? Would you accept fewer products? What sort of how do you buy into that magic? And everybody told us, look, I love to get my groceries in 8 minutes, but if it's in 15, 20, or 25 minutes, I'm all happy. And sometimes it's even bothering me if it's too quick because I didn't manage to get that shower, get kids to bed, whatever it is that I wanted to do in the meantime. What we see, however, is that the second you sort of move towards the 30-minute mark and beyond, you get a lot of frustration. So that's the pushback you mentioned. If you don't deliver on that promise, and if it's especially a Q-commerce vision, so we're not talking about full basket online delivery, that 30-minute mark is really critical.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, this is something that I also read about and heard, that there is this specific time period that you have to fit, and then it should work in your favor as somebody who has the product. But you mentioned also listening to customers, and this is connected with that promise. We are, sharing with the people, this is 15-minute delivery, this is 20-minute delivery, but here comes logistics, here comes the operation, how to do it, how to be really that efficient, and how, where is the product promise and where is that product optimization? And this is something that I would like to ask Mohamad, like, how do you balance that, and how integral is that customer feedback and that promise that we are giving them in comparison to what we can really achieve?
Yeah, so at Careem, in the mobility of things and quick commerce, we have two offerings. We have the food delivery and we have the grocery delivery. On the grocery delivery, we call it quick. So quick is the name, like is part of the brand. So it's part of the value proposition. And when we were looking at the delivery time value prop, as Feym mentioned, right, we start to talk to the customer. And what we observed are two things. Number one is that depending on the market, there's a market conditioning for the customer. So if you deliver 30 minutes and the competition is delivering 40 minutes, then you are fast. If you deliver 30 minutes and competition is delivering 20 minutes, then you're late, you're slow. So this is the market conditioning per city where we open the service is important to understand where the market conditioning for our user. Second is the promise that you set. So if you start with a big shout from the marketing point of view that you deliver in 15 minutes and you deliver in 20, that priming and that anchoring on the psychology of the customer that, hey, it's a 15 minutes delivery and you deliver in 20, then you're late. And if you deliver, 13 or 12, then you're fine, you're okay. So with this, we also, in addition to talking to customers, we looked at the data. So also, wanted to hear the voice of the data and statistics. What do we see from the data? So in the region or in the markets that we operate in, we looked at the contact rate. Where do we see customer calling care or reaching out to understand where the order is, or they have a feedback on the order? So we look at the contact rate. and we looked at the rating of the orders, rating of the delivery. And we saw the inflection point around 40 minutes. So what we want to do is avoid as much as possible the 40 minutes thresholds. So we designed on food delivery that we don't want to exceed the 40 minutes threshold, because we've seen from the data is telling us your contact rate will start to increase, your rating will start to decrease around that threshold. So this is what you observe on the food. On the delivery side, on the grocery delivery side, on quick, we typically deliver between 15 and 20 minutes. In grocery delivery, we run a network of dark stores, and we have to be very cognizant in scaling up in a prudent, economically prudent way. If you want to decrease the delivery time, your cost will increase, will have a quadratic cost implication. So your cost will increase quadratically. So if I want to decrease my delivery time by half, my cost will most likely increase by 4. So therefore, as Feym mentioned, have to be sustainable. So you have to really address that delivery time and that value prop very consciously. And otherwise, if you go, hey, I want to deliver in 15 or 10 or 12 minutes, you could do it at your own peril, right? You might not be able to survive or to deliver on that.
Yeah, sustainability is one thing, but how to be profitable in that instance. This is the question. Jasjit, what is your approach here? So, do you have a similar view, and also looking at the trends? So Mohamad said, yeah, we are looking 40 minutes. This is the trend that we are seeing. Are you trying to stay ahead of this trends, or are you trying to respond to what customers are sharing in order to create a product that really fits the market needs?
So I think this has also become a standard playbook. Like, how do you listen to your customers? Through data, through research, through voice. So again, like, we operate at a global scale where regions are also eyes and ears for what we understand of the market, right? And we try to live a life of a customer where we spend more time also in a dark store or with the vendors to kind of understand their pain points. So all of these signals, right, where you're talking about qualitative data, you're talking about quantitative data, you're talking about different signals that help us formulate, okay, what is the right way to play, right? Like, as Mohamad said, right, like in some markets 20 minutes is fast, in some markets even that 20 minutes is slow, right? Depends on market, depends on how you're operating, depends on the promise that you have kept, right? So typically you would in a typical product development cycle, you would start with your problem discovery, where you would actually look at like signals, as Mohamad said, right? Either in data or through the voice of the customer. Based on that, you come out with, okay, what are the problems that you really want to fix, and then you look at validation of how do you want to solve it. There could be a million ways in which you could solve those problems. What is the cheapest way in which you can kind of validate and get to the market quickly? And then from there on, the whole cycle continues, and while kind of innovating and we're building more products around that.
Yeah, I'm very happy that you mentioned that innovation and the checking and iteration, because this is something, you have to check whether this is something that is profitable for you, or there's any return of the investment in the innovation that you are introducing. And I cannot help but throw AI into it, because, hey, we've built the whole event about the AI, and where is that innovation? Like, what we are looking for, what we are striving for, is the AI helping here, and is it helping on a side that customers are seeing, or is it helping more within this operational side of your business that you are having? Feym, maybe you can shed a light, like, how do you balance that need for innovation with the reality, with the possibilities and possible return of the investment, because those are costly things.
Absolutely. I think one, you've mentioned that, and sort of what I caught from the presentation before, is we're really in a time where AI is no longer optional. So for us, from the very beginning, we set up a dedicated data department that basically from the get-go was making sure that we collect the right data in the right amount and build some history that we can train AI on. Practically, a lot of this innovation is happening currently I would say, on the back end. So operationally, orders, how do you minimize food waste? All these things are already heavily AI driven. On the front end, I think we see some nice, what I would still call gimmicks, but it's still there. But if you expand larger to your question, how do you deal with innovation? I had two very different teams reporting to me. One is the product team, where there was an understanding we want to bring something to the market and test it sort of live and see how folks react. But there is a strong push to make it sort of huge and beautiful. And that usually means you spend years working on it. So there really the push was, how can you streamline the core idea and tailor it to the core problem you're trying to solve, get it out and see test it. The other team was marketing. Again, they love research. They love to have some numbers behind whatever creative concept they have. But ultimately, when you talk about something that is still new in the market that most people didn't have a touch point with, which is Q-commerce, there's only so much you can ask and get out of market research. Eventually, you have to just confront the customer with the product and then see how they react, whether it's through direct questions or just measuring the data and responsiveness in the app, because ultimately that's the only way you get to a true answer.
Yeah, exactly. And when you have the research, one thing is what people say, and the other thing, what is really what you see in your products, how they are really reacted to the innovation that you are bringing, or to the new solutions, functionalities, and the product overall. And just going deeper into the innovation. What is even the innovation? Because it can mean everything for everyone and nothing for the other people. It's just a word. But how do you prioritize that need for innovation? How do you align it with the market conditions? As Feym also mentioned, like, you cannot skip that step, but where is the breaking point? Where is the moment that we feel good with innovation and we can prioritize certain things? How do you do that?
Sure. So let's go a level deeper into innovation, right? What is the need for innovation? Innovation, in my mind, is problem reframing. Problem, how do you understand your problem? What are the obvious things that you could do to solve that problem? What are the things that are not too obvious? Because especially if you don't have the data, you may not have the insights. How do you reframe it into a context that you can then try to solve, right? And we have been working on very hard problems, like for example, we worked on shift optimization, we worked on replacements. All of that eventually needed AI ML to kind of do a step jump in improvements and things that we want to do. But those are solutions, right? Like, let's start with the problem. Let's understand what is the problem over there and how do we solve the best. Is AI ML the right way to solve that? That's an answer to or a solution to that problem. First figure out the problem, then figure out the size of the problem, and then go after it and look at, like, what is the best and the cheapest way I can solve. As Feym said, right, like sometimes you have to take the bet, go do the cheapest way of kind of rolling it out in the market, and then learn and then iterate, right? And we've been doing this with the ML products that we have been building in Delivery Hero. And it also increases the engagement with the people we are building with, right? Because they are also giving their inputs and helping us iterate. So innovation, it's all about problem framing and reframing. And how do you solve that is via, today it is AI ML, tomorrow it may be robotics, it may be something else, right? So all that is a solution to the bigger problem.
Yeah. Okay, so let me throw a problem here. Growing inflation, mergers, changes in the market, growing competition. Everybody wants that piece of cake. And, it's a user's market as well. But we are looking at the prices more and more because I think everyone is struggling a bit. So how to ensure what steps to take to not only survive, but thrive in that environment, to not let others take your place, to not others squeeze into areas that you maybe not be delivering that much of a value for the clients who are seeking for some optimization of their spending, optimization of the time. 2023 was a challenging year for the industry. So how to stay here, Mohamad?
Yeah, I say business is the most competitive sport. So you have to find and use whatever you can to your advantage. In this regard, Careem is lucky that we started 11 years ago in the rides business. So in the ride-hailing business, we became kind of the leading ride mobility company before our acquisition by Uber. And we started to diversify. So we have a large user base. We started to add, and we're a marketplace, rides marketplace. We started to add food delivery, so mobility of food. And then we started to add another adjacency with the delivery of grocery. And then we added another adjacency, which is the dining out at restaurants, so combining the offline and online. And we added payment with the mobility of money with Careem Pay. And we started to expand, given that we have the customer base, we start to bring more third-party tenants to the Everything app to bring more and more, increase the services that we bring. And this gave us, and we also have a loyalty program, the number one loyalty program in Dubai with Careem Plus, that gave stickiness and gave value to our customer, saving value in terms of saving to our customer. So structurally, we have a distribution channel cost advantage in terms of customer acquisition cost, because we are mining the customer base that we have on Ride, the large one, and we started to add more and more adjacency of verticals. So we have a structural advantage on the customer acquisition cost. We have a loyalty program for the customers to stick and to trust us. And we have an economy of scope. Once you come to Careem, the Everything app, you could do multiple things to simplify your daily life, online and offline. So with that lens, we have a strong value prop of why you come to Careem and why you stay with Careem. And we have the operational and cultural lens or principles to always, be very centric with the customer, from the customer lens, solving for the customer. We have values on every experience matter for our customer and captains and restaurants and partners. So we have to tie all of this together to ensure that we're leveraging, what we have, and we keep close of how, where the market dynamics are shifting. And you remind me by a quote by Andy Grove, only the paranoid survives. So we have to always be on the look. We have to always be, looking for our customer and looking how do we do this for sustainably for the long run.
Yeah. So, Jasjit, do you think there are any specific qualities that we should, have when it comes to food delivery, or is it building a super app and having all those features available for the users? What makes you stand out? What makes you grab that success?
See, ultimately, right, like you said, there are about 400 million users using quick commerce. But to be honest, that is just a percentage, a small percentage of the people that use e-commerce or other ways or retail, right? It's just scratching the surface right now. So my main competition is not even the competition that we are talking about, right? It's for me, it is for me to understand what does Eva need in order to order online versus going to the next store outside, right? That is the simplicity that we need to think in. What is going on in your mind when you think of buying groceries, right? What does go in your mind when you think about food, right? How can we kind of piggyback that and basically you have a recall that yes, last experience with say Talabad or with Food Panda or the brands that we are working with, how does that basically compete to the physical experience, right? And that is where I think you can drastically change that experience and the expectation with different capabilities and features, right? Mohamad rightly said, right, these are the capabilities or the features that really can bring in the customer and and make the customer stay. But it's also about the understanding of a mindset of a user, and then crafting that journey right from the time you get onboarded to the time you order more, so that you keep coming back. That's the trick.
Yeah. Well, for me, I would say it has to be cheap, it has to be fast, and then I will be happy. But I have a lot of companies to choose from. In Poland, I have like 4 or 5 applications that can serve that purpose. So where's the trust? Where's the loyalty? Hey, maybe you have any idea? Is the trust, is the loyalty an important factor here, or we are trying to get as many users as we can possibly have right now, this moment, because the environment can change in a minute?
No, I think absolutely trust is critical whenever it comes to food, especially. You will only trust a bad produce once, and then when you see it, or even worse, when you try it, you completely move on and lose all faith in that supplier. And tying it back to what we just heard is, if you want to win and gain this trust, you basically have to deliver consistently convenience across a larger ecosystem. I think those are the 2 parts that were mentioned before. I think what we see a bit in the market now is that a lot of players try to see how much they can cut and still get away with it, where they sort of cut delivery time down, way down, increase waiting times, reduce the range of assortment. And at some point you will see that the trust in the promise that we heard about before just is no longer there. We talked about, why would I order from an app that can offer me maybe 100 products if in the store around the corner I can have 2,000? So I think that's sort of the consistent convenience part, and the larger ecosystem. Trust is a part of the answer, but then being able to get this at a good price, which means somewhere you have to create synergies, whether it is on the operational side, what we heard, and what I'm sure Careem and Delivery Hero are doing very well now, or it's a purchasing power that we bring, sort of where as a group we operate 10,000 stores in Poland. So there's a different purchasing power, and we have the ability to forward prices to the customer that are sort of very palatable compared to a pure player. So yeah, to answer that, trust definitely important, but also part of a larger conversation, just to deliver consistent convenience.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I would have like 10 more questions, but I have 1 minute left, and I would like to 2 words or 3 words from each one of you. What is the winning product in quick commerce, in on-demand food delivery? Mohamad, what is this for you?
Yeah, we go selection, what the customer should come to you. Reliability, what they should, delivering every time, fulfilling the order and delivering within the promise for reliability. The third is value. Should be, they should get value, price, and the saving. And the fourth, sustainability, right? You'll be able to sustain as a business and continue to be, doing this profitably.
Okay, Jasjit, your take.
I think I would copy everything that Mohamad said, right? Like it's a simple game that basically is based on trust, reliability, and delivering value. I think these are the core pillars. Maybe one thing that I might want to add is the recall, right? Like when you think about food, when you think about groceries, how do you think about a brand? That is also one of the key hooks that we need to kind of build over a time.
Thank you. And Feym, last word.
Not much to add here, but maybe one that is close to my heart, which is sort of the product in terms of the actual app. You've mentioned super apps, you've mentioned different delivery methods, and as it gets more and more complex, keeping in mind that in the end, the user has to be willing to use the app, have access to his order in a convenient way, not to see a bloated sort of set of features in no particular order. So maybe one small addition here to this impressive list, but all important.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. And how to do it, how to sustain is a sweet, sweet mystery that you are keeping to yourself so that your businesses can thrive. Thank you so much for being in the discussion. I loved that conversation, and I would like to have it longer, maybe we should organize a second meeting in anytime soon. So, gentlemen, again, thank you so much. And on behalf of Netguru, I would like to thank everyone who participated in our disruption forum, all the panelists, all people who are seeing us and listening to us, and obviously all the moderators. Thank you again. And yeah, let's meet again.
Thank you. Thank you, Netguru. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you all.